Greetings everyone! The other day, I came across a snippet from Sonic writer Ian Flynn's Bumblecast Q&A, and one question he answered made me raise an eyebrow in a curious way. Here it is if you're wondering.
Well, this is making me think, and spoiler alert for Sonic Frontiers. Skip to the timestamp for the next question if you don't want to hear anything about it. But the characters mentioned, certain characters who are mentioned in Frontiers, has their status as far as being canon to the games changed officially at this point? Or can you even say that?
Izuka-san says he wants to bring the various forms of Sonic media closer together. Mm-hmm. And I have made it clear that the comics follow the lead of the games. So as long as there's no contradictions anywhere, we're good.
So when people say that, say, for example, like IDW is canon to the games now, would you argue against that?
I would not argue against it, no.
Alrighty then.
This is interesting. As long as it does not contradict the games, IDW Sonic is canon. Maybe. Don't jump up and down at this excitement just yet. Whatever your thoughts on the comic, this is a big deal. If they do commit to this possibility, IDW Sonic already follows game events closely. Might as well go all in with making the comic events happen within the game world. We're already seeing this happening thanks to a brief nod in the latest game, Sonic Frontiers. Oh, to reinforce what co-host Kyle said earlier, spoiler warnings for the game from this point forward in case you haven't played it or watched any story cutscenes. You've been warned. As Sonic runs around the Starfall Islands, he'll comment on something he sees, and will occasionally bring up a game character that it reminds him of. Then we get this.
I bet Tangle would love climbing around these ruins.
Yes, Game Sonic mentioned Tangle, a character that debuted in the IDW comics, issue 4 to be precise. This was a big deal when people discovered it, and as I've said in the past, Tangle would make a good game character. Think of all the skills she can employ with that tail. This nod, plus Ian's answer to IDW Sonic continuity, seems to be part of a greater plan with regards to the Sonic lore. As you've heard earlier, Ian mentioned that Takashi Iizuka wants to bring the various Sonic media, namely the games, comics, and the Sonic Prime Netflix series, closer together. This is elaborated on by an interview he did for Sonic Stadium not too long ago. Having a long-time comic writer working on Sonic Frontiers is a big step. He's still one guy, and it would take much more Sonic experts to dictate the lore. Which brings us to this tweet courtesy of Sonic's social media manager Katie. She revealed that a team is being developed dedicated to connecting the overall Sonic universe. Said team would consist of Ian Flynn, fellow comic writer / artist Evan Stanley, animator, director, and movie Sonic redesigner Tyson Hayes, and an assistant lore manager. That position as of this video has not yet been filled. No, Ian's not going for the position. He said it himself.
I'm not applying for it myself, because number one, I ain't moving out to California. Are you crazy? And number two, I have no managerial experience. I am not the person for that job. I am, however, part of the, what do you want to call it, group, committee that is involved with it. So whoever gets that position, I look forward to working with you.
They, along with Sonic Team, would be working hard to unify the Sonic continuity, including references to past games, and doing some retconning to make things smoother. For instance, the Tales 2 V-Cast, which is part of this initiative, re-establishes that the Sonic characters live in the same world as the humans. The former group hangs out on small islands, while the latter group the large continents. Yeah, for a while it's believed that the two groups lived on different worlds. While I'm glad they've done away with the two worlds thing, it brings up a whole slew of issues, like what happened to them when Eggman conquered the world during Sonic Forces. I've read somewhere that gun was dealt with during that time. Still, it's a mess that the Sonic lore team will need to address. On a related note, if the IDW comics are going to be considered canon, are they going to address where the humans have been all this time, especially during the events of the Metal Virus? The idea of a team dictating a franchise's canon is nothing new. One example that comes to mind is Disney Star Wars Story Group. They're the ones that have to keep track of what's happening throughout the films, the TV shows, comics, books, and games. That's because when Disney acquired the franchise, their goal was to have a single shared continuity across various mediums. It's not perfect, as there have been retcons over the years. A character's tragic story in, say, a comic could have been retold in another medium down the line, and the second version becomes the new canon. That's the thing about canon in general. There are different levels of it. Usually, it's divided into two categories. Hard canon is the story told through the franchise's primary outlet. In Sonic's case, it would be the games. With a few exceptions, it's hard-locked. It cannot be changed without extreme difficulty. Then there's the soft canon, which involves the franchise's expanded universe properties, i.e. the IDW comics. They are more flexible and fluid with regards to continuity, and as Ian said earlier, as long as it doesn't contradict game events, there's no problem with them being made canon. As a longtime Sonic fan, I'm interested to see where this whole Unified Sonic Universe initiative goes. Some retcons I need to get used to, like for example, Sonic CD now takes place between Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 according to Sonic Origins. But as Sonic Frontiers shows, it can be a rewarding experience if you've played or are familiar with previous Sonic games. Even Sonic Boom gets a small nod.
I wonder if cream and sticks are free. Make a road trip out of it.
Now I wonder what mainline sticks would look like. That's another thing I need to quickly address. The Unified Sonic Initiative only applies to the main games, as well as spin-off games like Sonic Riders, Team Sonic Racing, and possibly the storybook games, the IDW comics, and the Netflix show. Which means the 90s cartoons, the Archie comics, Sonic X, the live-action Sonic movies, and the Sonic Boom sub-series are excluded. Now they might bring characters over to the main continuity, as the Sticks shoutout showed, but there's a good chance they have to be reworked in order to fit in properly. In the end, a more unified Sonic lore would help those who are just entering the franchise for the first time understand the Hedgehog's history better, and to help straighten things out for longtime fans. Let's just hope the Sonic lore team delivers.